I got these three here. All the ones I like.
Down,
good morning, everybody. Welcome to what will be the world's fastest multi-launch coaster, which is pretty exciting right here in Williamsburg. So Pantheon, obviously, and as you can see, the track is near completion. We're actually standing underneath the only section that doesn't exist right now, but it will in the next couple of days. So the track will be 100% complete. Where we're standing, we have our top hat feature, which has a beyond vertical drop at 95 degrees. So what the ride's going to do is actually come up the top hat once and then fall back down, and you're going to go backwards over right where we're sitting now, back up that spike, and then when it comes down the second time, it's an additional launch that will take you all the way up over the top hat, down the 95-degree drop, and then around the balance of the ride. So very, very exciting. Uses a switch track, which has only been used a couple times in the world, once over in China and once down at Universal. So very, very cool technology. Our ride engineer will talk a little bit more about the switch track here in a moment. But 73 miles an hour, 3 different launches. We'll have 2 trains running, and just going to be an amazing, really one-of-a-kind ride, completely custom, that takes in the topography of the park. So truly one-of-a-kind of experience, and just excited to get it going this spring. Yes?
What did this area used to be?
So this was some animal pastures, and basically what we did was kind of rearrange the configuration, so the animal pastures all still exist, just in a different configuration. So all kind of cohabitating back here, which is very, very unique. You'll actually walk right past some of the horse pastures as you're coming up through the queue line. As you cross the bridge over in Festa is how you're going to get to the ride. And you'll actually walk down almost to where we're standing, not quite this far. You'll actually walk under the track and then back up toward the station. And you'll probably see some horses on the way.
Are there any opportunities for first-time riders? Any events scheduled?
Yep. So we're going to look at some member exclusive ride time and some of the first folks to ride. So we don't have all the details on that yet, but yes, we're looking at some exclusive opportunities for our members. Hey guys.
Hey, good morning everyone. So I am Jonathan Smith. I am the Corporate Director of Rides and Engineering for the Busch Gardens Parks. It's a pleasure to have each of you out here today. So we are at the Pantheon construction site, which is our 9th roller coaster here at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. I am extremely excited for this ride. When we first envisioned this, we wanted to generate and create a ride experience that was going to be dynamic and thrilling, high thrill. But we also wanted to combine new and unique elements on this attraction, unlike any other coaster in the entire world. So individual elements and then back-to-back elements that is just going to keep our guests guessing as to what is next. So let's talk about some of these elements. We have a high-speed outer roll element over here that Elizabeth is going to talk to you about in a second. That is a combination of 2 inversion elements. It is a 0G roll and then a flat spin corkscrew roll going into a lower banked curve. That is going to be amazing after that 36-mile-per-hour launch. We have a high-speed track switch. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we progress along today's tour. So I'll save that for a little bit later. That is unlike anything else in the industry. Kevin talked to you about our top hat element over here. After our 3 launches in this straight section of track with the Camelback, you experience this top hat element with a 95-degree vertical drop going along the Rhine River. It is going to be astounding, the great view of the Williamsburg topography. Then you go into what I'm really excited about is this outward bank curve. Most curves in our industry on roller coasters, you'll have the track on the inside face of the bank. This one, we actually stuck it onto the outside. And what's really interesting, as you're maneuvering that element, you will experience uplifting forces as you're going through there. Then you finish off with a little sideways bank airtime hill. And I'm really excited about what's behind us here. That is our Top Gun stall. Think of it kind of like a Camelback airtime hill, but we actually rotate the track 180 degrees. You will invert for a couple seconds, and then you'll correct yourself back down at the bottom of that Camelback hill. It's going to be really exhilarating. We have some zigzag turns, really quick changes in direction. We have a sideways Camelback hill, and then we hit the brake run. Your experience is then over. Just over 3,300 feet of track, but the ride experience is over 4,200 feet. So it's a long, it's a big, impactful ride experience. I'm really looking forward to it. I know you guys are too. I can't disclose all of the G-Force experiences. I can share that we have 15 airtime elements on this attraction. And it's not just traditional airtime, it's sideways airtime, it's straight up vertical uplift airtime. We have a launch track where you're going to go forwards and backwards. You're going to experience airtime or uplift forces going backwards. I don't know if you've ever experienced that before. It is going to be very unique, so you're going to love it. So the ride vehicles, these are new type mega coaster ride vehicles. I don't know if any of you made it out to the IAAPA show, the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. We did display the Pantheon ride vehicle at that show. They are very comfy, very open trains, which works great for this ride layout or this ride center line, because you're going to be close to the ground, close to the landscaping. You'll feel very free as you experience the airtime moments, the 2 inversions on the attraction. So it's going to be a blast.
So like Cindy said, Susie Cheeley, the Vice President of Design and Engineering for Busch Gardens and Water Country, and honorary goddess, I guess, for Pantheon. So here we are. We are very close to finishing up the construction of the ride. It's been so much fun. We started back in May of 2019. Some of you might have been here for the media day when we were, we had a lot done already, but all you could see was the top of some of the footing, so it probably wasn't real exciting for you as it was for us. But now we have probably 90% of the track in, and as you can see, you can almost predict how the ride's going to be. And I think Jonathan kind of walked you through all the elements, but it's going to be so much fun, and we're excited, and I know you guys got to be excited. We're going to start at the station, obviously. Well, actually, we're going to start in Festa, because even though this feels like Italy, the entrance to the ride is going to be over in Festa. There's a bridge that goes over the train tracks. You guys will walk over here, walk up to the station. From the station, you can see how the track goes out. Goes down through the first launch here, around through, it's like spaghetti, right? The track just crisscrosses everywhere. Over through the second launch, it's going to go up toward the top hat, and then you're going to come backwards. You're going to come backwards through the launch again, up to the top of the spire, which is behind me. Very tall. It's going to be pretty interesting being up there. They thought we could maybe get me that high up here, but I think this is plenty high enough. And then you'll go forward. The third launch is going to launch you up over the top hat and down the 95-degree drop through a couple of inversions and then back into the station. So really non-stop action from beginning to end. I can't wait to ride it, and I know you guys are probably feeling the same way. Theming, yes, the theming will come in later. We got to get all the foundations and things in, but It's going to be related to Pantheon, which is the home of the Roman gods and goddesses. And we're going to have a really nice entry porthole and some other little surprises for you along the queue.
At our track switch element, this is not a traditional track switch that you have seen on a roller coaster throughout North America. This is actually what we call a fast track switch. Well, what is a fast track switch? Well, let's talk about that briefly. So we enter our outer side roll inversion element after our first launch experience. We actually maneuver into a double up zigzag element. How about that? Double up zigzag. Say that 3 times really fast. And then we move into our fast track switch. The ride vehicle will come in really quickly when it is this track and curved bank is aligned right here with the track on the zigzag side. It will then move into and accelerate into our launch 2 experience, where we propulse the train to a speed of 50 miles per hour as it heads towards the top hat. So while that is happening, this fast track switch will move laterally from the position closest to us to a position away from us. We have 2 track sections on this switch. We have the bank piece of track, and we also have a level piece of track on the other side. That level piece of track will actually align itself with the launch section here. And it does it in a matter of 2 seconds. Really quick, really fast. So our ride vehicle barely makes it to the top of the top hat, doesn't make it all the way up, goes backwards, it enters into its 3rd launch experience. We'll hit a speed of 61 miles per hour going backwards. I talked about uplift or airtime moments when you're going backwards. That is going to be pretty amazing. It'll go through the track switch up to our 178 foot tall reverse spike, and then it'll go forward again into its 4th launch experience, where we'll hit a speed of 67 miles per hour. Once the ride vehicle makes it all the way to the top of the top hat and to the bottom of that 95-degree drop, this track switch will then move in position towards us again in a matter of 2 seconds before we dispatch another train out of the station. So it's new technology. This is actually the longest track switch in the world. So fast track switch. So we're really excited about it. So we do feature a safety ride control system on this attraction, and the track switch is no exception to that. So there are fail-safe scenarios that we consider that we will test during commissioning. We will test those every day before we open the attraction. So we've had a significant amount of conversations with that. So that's actually a really good question. So we're not perfectly aligned right now because we're in the middle of installation, but this curved piece, this big radius here, is going to align with this static rail right next to you, right behind you. You go up this double up zigzag element, and it'll be perfectly aligned to that track and to the downstream connecting track onto the launch. So it's a curve going into the launch section. Once we move forward on our 2nd launch experience, this switch will then move away from us to a secondary position. And you see that track right there? Going to come towards us, and it'll align itself with the main launch track. So you have 2 switches. So think of it like a train track switch, something kind of like that, except it does it in less than 2 seconds. Yeah, we're actually going to be starting commissioning very soon, and part of the beginning parts of a commissioning process is we go into an electrical I/O checkout. We check all of our cable terminations on the launch system. We check our terminations on the low voltage ride control system. That is typically like a 2 to 3 week process before you even start moving trains or anything like that. And on a typical commissioning process, you cycle 1 train at a time. And then as you progress through the commissioning, you add a 2nd train and you keep going there. There's all these scenarios that you have to go through. So it's not just cycling a train over and over and over and over again. That's part of it, but you have to look at all those scenarios, safety block checks, things like that, that we're intentionally trying to see what the ride does and experiences. So that'll be starting here within the next month. So you guys gonna come all ride it?
Oh yeah. Spring 2020.
If this is the 95-degree angle, what is the angle of this? What is it?
We're 90 degrees here.
90
Straight 90 degrees.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, from the top hat down, instead of just coming straight down, it actually goes back on itself. So that's going to be a fun element.
It's going to be interesting too on this reverse spike. You'll actually experience 5 seconds of weightlessness when you're transversing from backwards to forward. So that'll be a lot of fun, right?
How high is it expected to actually climb the spike itself?
We're probably going to be within 10 feet from the edge. So. It depends on how the train's loaded. So.
Did you guys ride Finnegan's last year? You know that feeling of weightlessness you get when you're on the swing? I guess you're going to get that at the top, right, Jonathan?
Yep.
So that is going to be pretty exciting. You're going to be a little higher than you were at Finnegan's here.
Oh, they're getting their interviews and stuff. Talk to you very soon.
That's because she's a big Busch Gardens fan too.
It's actually really yeah. 2 sideways pieces of